Let's speak now to Alana Moceri. She's an international relations analyst at the European University of Madrid. Good to talk to you. So Article 155 has been implemented. What do you think is going to be the first sign that there is something different here in Catalonia?
Well, certainly it seems that the first thing will probably be that the politicians will be removed. That's going to be the first sign. I don't think that we're going to see a lot day to day in the streets, because what it has to do with is changing the upper echelons of the government. The rest of the civil servants who are really running the day to day business of the government will mostly stay the same, and that it will be just run out of Madrid. So I don't think that there's going to be a lot that the average person is going to see on the street. The only issue is the police. And certainly how civil disobedience and protests will be handled.
Well, we didn't have protests last night. We had celebrations here in this square from those who now believe this region is independent. I mean, is there any legal basis for what they are celebrating?
Absolutely not. And I think one thing that's really important, in one of the previous reports, they were talking about how during the vote on October 1st, that basically the people who were against independence, the people who want to stay with Spain, just didn't vote. And so there was about a 42% turnout, and the people who did turn out were the people who wanted independence. That's why the result was 90% for independence. Well, something similar happened in the Catalan parliament yesterday. The people who were against it, the lawmakers who were against independence, simply walked out. And so the vote was 70 yes, 10 no, and 2 abstentions, or 2 blank votes. But the rest, the other 53, had simply walked out. And so there is a big voice that's been silent, that's been not voting, abstaining, and they came out a few weeks ago in protest. And I think it's really important that we pay attention to that group of people, because it might be a plurality, but it's not necessarily clear whether we have a majority of Catalans who actually want independence from Spain. And that is a really, really important part of this.
It is. And to that end, what is the solution? I mean, is the solution to have a referendum here in Catalonia, to have a proper legitimate referendum that's sanctioned by Madrid, that meets all of the international voting guidelines? Would that give a definitive answer? Is that something that you think you should try?
Well, perhaps. I mean, most of Spain would like to see a legal referendum, but to get to that, that requires change into Spain's constitution. And so, there's been all of this talk and escalation of tensions over the months. But what's frustrating is it's really unproductive, because none of any of the actions that have happened so far in Catalonia have been legal. And that's the problem. They don't hold any water legally. And so to get to that requires going back to the Constitution, opening it up, which is something that nobody in Spain wants to do. Everybody's always been kind of afraid of. It hasn't been tampered with since it was written in 1978. And so that's a big deal. But that's the exercise in democracy that needs to happen first. And so it's really a long road if they want to do this legally, but there certainly is political will in Spain amongst most of the people in Spain to see that happen, and at least see a real referendum. That's not what this government will allow or wants to allow, but other political parties such as the socialists would like to see that happen.
Interesting stuff. Alana Moceri, thank you very much for joining us. We are in uncharted constitutional waters really here at the moment in Barcelona. As we've been saying, we are expecting to see unity marches on the streets of both this city and also in Madrid over the course of the day, whilst officially Madrid starts taking over bit by bit the civil service jobs that have been carried out up to now since Catalonian autonomy by the government behind me. But this building, it seems, maybe a little redundant in the weeks ahead. I'll hand you back now to the studio.